Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good
Yes,
evening.
sir.
Okay, first thing, no need. I'm Amit, and I'm teaching assistant for TDS like past two term and this term too. This will be my third term. Carton was a student last time, and he's a teaching assistant now. First thing, we all are a student. Me, Carlton. So please don't call us sir. Just call us Amit or Carlton. Okay. Second thing, this is there are some changes in our course portal this time. As you can see, our course portal is little bit different than other subjects. Correct? How many of you have been watched all the videos or few videos?
I have
Okay,
watched.
nice, nice. Okay,
I
lots of
also said.
yeah, lots of. Please don't call us sir. Just Amit and Carlton will be more than better. Okay, so the thing is, there is little bit our TDS course is updated now, very much updated. So you can see it as Carton is showing his screen. Carton will be your main TA this time. So as you can see, all the videos are in a single page. You can see all the videos in the single page. So if we go through, let me go through a little bit of TDS journey. First thing, I just want to see all the hands. All those students who is just come to into the diploma, it is their first term or second term in the diploma. Kindly raise your hand. Okay, five people, seven, eight students who is taking TDS. Okay, nine, 10. Okay, 11. Okay, lot of you just took TDS as a first subject or second term in diploma. So let me tell you something. The thing is,
Yeah, Amit, there's a lot of background noise from your end. So if you can try to minimize that background noise, is there any scope for it?
actually there are other TAs also in the this same office. So yeah.
Okay, okay, fine,
Okay.
fine.
Okay. So the thing is, in TDS there will be lot of tools. So it's good if you guys have some little bit extra knowledge. Like it's the best thing if you guys already have Med 1 or MLP. But if you guys don't have this much knowledge, then it's still fine. If you look at the TDS content, you cannot see it here because only 2 weeks are updated. But it's a whole journey. Let's say in the real world situation, you are working in some company and someone asks you, okay, let's say, let me take someone, okay, Amrita. Okay, let's ask, okay, Amrita, there is a problem here, and this is the Indian market. I want some data, I want some information. Okay, if I am gonna launch this product, X product, will it sell well or not? Will it generate enough revenue? So what you are gonna do? First thing, you will look for the data. You will just ask the question, which type of data I require. That's your week one. Data discovery. You will look for data. Then, once you identify which type of data you need, then you try to get that data. That's your data source. After it, when you get the data, that data may be or may not be clean, very clean. Okay, maybe you need to clean it. Maybe you need to prepare that data. That will be your week three, where you are gonna do some data cleaning, data preparation. After it, you need to make some model. You need to apply some mathematical model, machine learning model. Okay, Naren is sharing. Yeah, yeah, Naren. Exactly these stuff. Then you do some modeling about those data. Okay. Then there are, once you get the whole model, once you get the which type of mathematical model is applicable for your data, which data give you the right picture of your consumers or your solution of your problem, then you need to design an output. Why designing an output? Because you guys are data scientists, but your consumer, your bosses, your manager will not be data scientists. They may be just plain, maybe they are not very much educated. Then you need to make design your output in kind of in visual format or some other format. Then you need to tell your whole journey, that how you get the data, what is the result of that data, the whole journey in kind of a story. So this is what TDS is. So TDS is only 3 credit subject, but don't take it as a 3 credit subject. It is more like, as Carton mentioned, more like a skill based stuff. Okay. So yeah, so that's all from my side, and now it's up to Carton.
Okay, sorry about the uh, background noise. Uh, right. So, as Amit has already taken you through the sort of what to expect in TDS. What we'll start with today then is just looking at, so you got an assignment due that's coming in about 4 or 5 days. So we'll just briefly go through some of the course content for the first 2 weeks that they've already um, put out. And as we go through those sections, you can ask me questions, and it'll be very much an interactive session. I hope I'm clear. Is it okay? The sound okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Um, okay, so I can see that there are some hands that are raised. Okay, Ramande, can you ask your doubt, please?
Hello,
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
sir. I have doubt in week 1 and week 2, both weeks.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, sorry, week 2, first and second lecture. Sorry.
sure. Okay.
Like
Um,
I am getting like script error in Excel while scrapping the data.
okay. We'll go through that definitely.
Okay.
Anyone else has some issues that they want to just raise before we
And
start?
excuse me, sir.
Yes, go on, Ramande. It's
And
Carlton.
uh, okay, Carton. I was also asking like in discourse, Uh,
Yes, I've seen your post. Yeah,
yes, sir.
we will definitely go over that. No
Yes, sir.
worries.
Getting location URL from like
Sure,
weather apps.
sure.
Okay.
Yes, Anand. Anand, you're not audible.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Carlton, good evening. I have two questions. One, I am not seeing the supplementary content for this particular course, Tools in Data Science, in the
When you say
dashboard.
so, when you say supplementary content, what specifically are you referring to?
Oh, like there are, the slides which you guys are running on the screen, those things, and some other material used to be there for other courses. And
Okay.
two, like when I go to the dashboard, like for week 1, right, sir? So once I start, listening these study material for week 1, so inside that there are no sub modules, right? So I'm getting confused. I mean, how many videos are there? So no visibility is there. Is that possible to, I mean, show them here?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll share the screen again. This was an issue that we identified very early on, but it has not yet been sorted out on the back end. We raised the issue with the IT team as well as with the instructors. It's something that they hope to get corrected at some point. But
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll just show you. I know a lot of students might not have noticed, but it's the first thing I noticed was normally you would have subsections,
Right. So we have
and
clarity how many modules are there, right? So,
yes, and what I'll do is let me just make some annotations here, so perhaps you can see. So normally you would have like several subsections, 1.2, 1.3,
right,
1.4, something like
right.
that, right? And whereas over here, what has happened is they have put all the videos. This is not supposed to be this way, but this is like section 2. And if you scroll down under data discovery, and all the supplementary contents that you're looking for are actually been dumped underneath each video. So as you can see here, this is the second section. And then there is awesome public data sets and Kaggle data sets and all those sort
Okay.
of things. These are just resources. They're not particularly important. And but the important bits are things like you will see, for example, a DBF opener. These are again tools that you will be able to use after you watch the video.
Okay.
And if I go further down, it's mostly in the second week that you will see more useful things. So I'll just quickly show that as well. Here you have in the second week, again, it's the same issue. There are actually several videos, but
Okay.
you'll have to scroll down to get them. But these are all
Okay.
separate
So
sections.
yeah, I can do this, no issue, right? But
Yeah.
I from here I will know what is the content for week 1 and what is the content for week 2, right?
Correct. What I
Okay.
would say generally to all of you, the most important bits are to understand how the notebooks work. So you will get, for example, So these are not notebooks, but if I just scroll down a bit here.
When you're saying notebook, it is collab, right?
Correct, collab notebooks, that's right. So, not that, still further down. Right, so for example, this one here. So I'll just open this. Um, right, okay, share this tab. So as you can see on here, these notebooks are extremely important. Uh, they, the advantage that you get as TDS students is someone has already done the thinking work for you and has spent a lot of effort to build these notebooks. They've been
Okay.
referred to in the videos, but the key thing here is not to just plug and play, okay? I know you can answer the questions plugging and just using plug and play, but my advice to you is try and understand what the code does. Just do that as a general rule of thumb. I will go through these notebooks with yourselves as well. So I will do that in these sessions. But just in your own study time, don't just rely on these sessions. In your own time also, play around with them. The important thing is first to go ahead and make a copy. So, you know, you say save a copy in your drive. So when you do that, then you can work on the notebook. Don't work directly, try to work directly on the notebook.
Okay.
I think normally the sharing has been disabled so you cannot normally do that. But last term we had an issue where the sharing permissions were not correct and some students worked directly on the notebook and it created a whole bunch of problems for other students. So always the first thing that should come to your mind, as soon as you open the notebook, before you do anything, before you even look at what the notebook is, just say file, save a copy in your drive. And then once the copy is made, you can feel free to play around with it and learn from it all the things that are there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So that's about the videos. There is definitely several sections, and just give me a second here, one second. Okay, and so were there any other questions before we start going through the various sections? Did anyone else have any general questions that needed to be addressed?
I had a question, Carlton.
Okay, go ahead, Aditya.
Like in the video above this, where we scrap weather data from BBC weather website, so I am using Chrome, so I wasn't able to find the that locator API, so I wasn't able to do that. Like I was trying to do it myself, watching the video, but I wasn't able to do that.
Okay, sure. It's the same issue that Ramanand, I think Ramande shared. We will cover that. No worries.
And I have another question, which is a general one. Uh,
Yeah,
we will be having one or two ROEs in this course, right?
we will have exactly one ROE.
Okay.
And that will be, I think it's. Can someone give me a date on that? If some of you more forward-thinking students.
26th July, no?
Yeah, I believe that sounds right. About the 3rd or 4th week of July it is. Yeah.
So in regard to that, I was asking that what exactly will we be supposed to do there? Like, will we be given some
21st
task?
July, sorry.
Okay. With regards to ROE, we won't address it straight away, but as we go through the week's content, these 2 weeks content now just in a couple of minutes, I will point out to you things that will be very important for you in your ROE. Okay.
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 Yeah. Thank you.
Carter, I also have the one question.
Okay. Go ahead, Amit.
Yeah, what is the pre-request for this subject?
Okay.
What we
Yeah. So there are no official prerequisites.
no officially,
Yes.
unofficially.
Yeah, unofficially, you should be very comfortable. Ideally, we say that you should have at least had MAD 1 because it will give you some essential skills with Python. It will give you some essential skills with HTML manipulation. And that's why, ideally, if you can, you should have taken MAD 1. We say that as students because we found that to be the case. However, saying that, our goal is not to leave anyone behind. So we have provided extensive resources in the, and I'll show them to you on here. We have provided extensive resources for people who don't have that background, okay? So for example, at the bottom of week 2, this these sessions, these are really good sessions concerning real life scraping, but they go through particularly this one, okay, the where it says optional live session recordings. Optional here does not mean that these are not going to be in the graded assignment. What these sessions are exactly the kind of issue you will deal with in ROE. And so really the optional part is a bit misleading here. Okay, so don't ignore this. In fact, I would say these are some of the most important videos. They were done by Amit, and he did it with a view of helping students with ROE. So if there's nothing else you take away from this session today, I would say definitely look at this section, optional live session recordings, and it deals with web scraping, with the URL lib library, with beautiful soup. If you're making notes, just write down beautiful soup. You will need that 100%. And all the issues that are discussed in these videos are extremely important for your ROE. In fact, I would say probably 50% of your ROE might come from just these videos alone. Okay, so there's hot tip number one.
Yeah. Sir. I watch the video as well, that particular. And I think one video have the voice issue, but okay, the region. So, okay. Thank you, Carl.
Okay, so if there are no more general questions, then I'll just start going through the content in rough order. If there are any issues, please feel free to raise your hand or even just open your mic and let me know what your doubts are. Okay.
Excuse me, Kathleen. Uh, what are the take-home projects?
Sorry, what are the? Could you repeat that again, please?
Take-home projects.
Okay, so the take up, that's a good question. The projects will be before the ROE. To be honest, they're not going to be very difficult. I don't think they're supposed to be that challenging because they are supposed to be uh, uh, assessments that are meant to test some key abilities to manipulate data sets that are very clean. So that's the one advantage of the projects. We have done quite a lot of backend work to make sure that the data sets you get are very clean. So these data sets will require you to use some skills of manipulating them in pandas, for example, or using some other tools like Excel to gain some valuable information from them. And then you will have to answer some set questions that we will provide, which are randomized along with the randomized data set. And that's what the take-home projects will be. They will have a component to them that is peer reviews. I know this is a word everyone hates, but the reality is in the real world, no one sits and gives you grades. You work with other people, and other people opinion of your work will matter. And one of the things they try to capture in TDS is that sense of your work you may think is really wonderful and great, and it probably is, but there will be people that may have a different view of it. The other advantage that you get from doing peer reviews is you get to see other people's work, and that really broadens your horizons. Some people do some phenomenal things, and hopefully you get to see that. And then you will see examples of things that you should probably avoid. So it's not going, the details of that grading is given, I think, very succinctly and very clearly in the grading document, or I believe Anand sir has provided some resource where it's explained very clearly in the course introduction. Um, I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I'm sure if you look through, it will be there somewhere where he talks about how the assessments of the, yeah, I think it is somewhere around here. So he has explained in some detail over here about how the scoring will work. But it's safe to say that there's no way around the peer reviews. It will be part of the course. But I hope I have answered at least some of your questions regarding project. Did you have any other query about it?
Oh, thank you. I have
Oh,
one query about how much Excel is required because I'm just basically a novice in that. So,
okay, yeah, no worries. We will go through Excel, and as far as possible, that's one thing we have aimed to do this term, is try to use Google Sheets as much as possible. In fact, new lectures were recorded this term, which were not available last term, and it uses Google Sheets. So we will try to use open source tools as much as possible, because we understand that some students may not even have Excel. So while the Excel things are useful to know, because in industry, that's a common thing that most corporations use. So really, it is worth being familiar with Excel. Nevertheless, we will have some sessions on it, and as well as Google Sheets, and try to do it that way. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
yes, thank you.
If I may interrupt, actually, in NPTL, there is one more chapter apart from this YM, which is having some courses on Excel, 10 days course or something like that. If someone is interested, can browse the NPTL website and get to know. They are teaching
Mm.
Excel, a little bit of Excel with the various things.
Could you please share the link?
I'll try, madam.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Sorry, Carter.
yeah, no, no, that's great, great. I mean, in fact, Naren makes a very good point. One thing I've learned in TDS, and I'm sure Amit will also back me on this, you will end up doing a lot of research online for resources, because none of us remember everything. And that's what's going to be the key here. We will teach you the basics. We'll get you through so that you're at least, you will build some self-confidence. But then when the expertise comes in, you will be doing a lot of looking up resources that we just cannot in this short period of time cover. So there will be some work involved in finding these resources. So if you guys, one thing I would suggest, if you find some great resource, please put it on the discourse so that others can also benefit from it.
Yeah, apart from NPTL and Swayam, there are few people who are the best people in Excel. Like there is one person who is chandu.org. That this person on YouTube has got he's been working for more than 10 years if I'm not wrong. So he has got the best Excel content ever, what I have seen from last 10 years. So if you want to
Okay.
follow, you can follow him.
Thank you, Amrita. That's very good.
Yeah.
Could you please put that
I
in
will,
Discord?
I will, I will put the YouTube link here also, and I'll put it on Discord also.
Yes, please. Because
Yeah.
the links that you put in the message box here, unfortunately, they won't be
No, no,
the
no.
same.
I was just like asking you, like, is it okay if we promote that YouTube links on Discord, because that should not have any objection from someone else? Because
No,
I don't.
definitely not.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's no objection to that. People post useful links on discourse all the time.
yeah.
So,
I'll put it then.
okay. Thank you very much, Amrita.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Such Rita, please.
Sucharita. Yeah, hello, Carlton. My query is actually, can we shift? Is that possible that we can shift this session from Sunday to Monday, because we have assignment graded assignment deadlines on Sundays, so it might become difficult for us to attend Sunday 8 to 10 p.m. So, is that any possibility that we can shift to Monday?
Right. I understand the concern. Someone also else had also raised this issue. My answer is, I hope will inform the issues we face. First of all, obviously TDS is not the only course that's running. Scheduling itself is a very difficult thing to do, because
Yeah.
it's not done by us specifically. It's done by the NPTEL team and the BS degree team, and they coordinate with the instructors. They have all the
Uh,
TAs of the various sessions, and a lot of students in this course are, for example, working professionals. And so in an attempt to accommodate everyone, it's
mm,
always going to be difficult that someone, will, even if you move it to Monday, you will benefit, but someone else also will, then say, oh, I
yeah.
can't. So that's the difficulty. But I did raise the question. It's not something that we ignore. I'm not trying to push off your concerns. Uh,
Yeah.
we did make them aware that there were students, for example, who wanted it at an earlier time. But that's why what we have done to help you is these sessions will be recorded. So if you cannot
Oh,
attend the sessions,
Huh.
definitely you can watch the recording. So that's the way we get around
Okay.
that. Okay.
Yeah, that would be helpful then. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay. I'll start going through the content now. It's about 8:35, and just give me a couple of seconds before I get set up. Okay. So Amit is going to also share the link of the YouTube channel on the chat box. This is where videos that we are recording will get posted. Okay. So subscribe to the TDS YouTube channel, and you should be able to pick up these live session recordings on there. Okay. Okay. So the first week is very straightforward and simple. It's talking about what is data, and Sir Anand sir has gone through, I think, these aspects of data, um, and he talks about the different sources of data. He talks about public data, private data, and personal data. The public data is data that you can, of course, get from places like these sources that I mentioned here. I won't spend a lot of time on this because it's self-evident. For example, Kaggle is a great place to pick up public data sets. The key thing to remember about public data sets is that you have to they usually have an open license and you're able to access them, but it's also limited in a way. In fact, as he says in his video, a vast quantity of vast quantity of data is actually private data, and these are things that you have to pay for because someone has actually spent a lot of money and effort to actually get the data. But governments are great sources of public data, sporting sites, music sites, you name it, any major data set that you can think of that people would have an interest in. There's usually public data available for it. It may not be more in the most clean method, but that's where your role as a data scientist comes in, where you pick up this data from these data sets, and then you clean them up so that they can be processed in an efficient way, and then you try to glean some insights from them. The third aspect he talked about was this idea of personal data. And this is data that can be found in your phone, for example. And he talks about how the personal devices we own are extremely rich with data. And there's a minefield of data that can be gained from them. Was there any, I don't think there should be any questions about this, but if there is, please go ahead and ask me if you ran across any difficulties with the lecture or this particular issue. If not, I'll move on. Okay, no questions. So next, he talked about the types of data sets. You have structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data sets. And in here, the examples he are given that, for example, structured data, data that have some sort of course, by the word you can make out structure. And by structure, we mean they are usually tend to be fields and attributes. And fields are for example, your columns in a spreadsheet, which will have the age or a name of a person. It's the things that we are most familiar with. You would see them in forms, and structured data usually has very defined data types in them as well, which so the entire field, for example, will contain data that can be easily manipulated and things of that nature. Semi-structured data, JSON, HTML, and email. The reason they're semi-structured is because you can't predict exactly how JSON structures may be. They may contain a mix of different things. And so that's why they're called semi-structured. They may not be completely translatable into a flat file, um, but those kinds of things like email and HTML, and he goes into quite a lot of detail in here about them. So I won't spend too much time on these because these sort of things won't be important for your ROE, but there may be a few questions on these in your final exam. So I'm not going to spend too much time on these, okay? Because I think they're quite straightforward to follow.
Excuse me, Carlton.
Sure, go ahead, Aditya.
I just have one clarification. Like shape files refer to data in the form of maps, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, shapefiles have coordinates that define shapes. Yes.
Got it. So they are basically used for data analysis related to geography, like that.
Usually, yes. So what tends to happen is a shapefile will, describe, like you said, a constituency or a district or some cities, but it's needs to be precise. One good example is they're doing it in India now as well, which is all the property that exists in India, private and public property. They're using satellites to precisely map the boundaries of each and every property. And this has great benefits in terms of planning. It has great benefits in terms of uh, uh, protection of property as well, because when boundary disputes occur, I know it seems amazing because we look at Google Maps and we think the resolution is not that good, but the truth is the resolution of these satellites that the government has access to are incredibly detailed. I don't know specifics of India, but I'll give you one example in the UK. So in the UK, farmers apply for subsidies, and one particular thing that the government gives subsidies for is to leave a field without any plants on it. And the reason they do that is because they want the soil to rest and they want the soil to regain its fertility. So if you intensively farm that field constantly all the time, eventually the soil degrades and no amount of fertilizer is going to repair that soil. So they want nature to uh, automatically regenerate that field. But the problem for the farmer is if he doesn't plant the crops on that field, he will not get any revenue from it, right? So they apply for a specific subsidy, they fill up the form and they tell the government, this particular field, we will keep fallow for these many months. And then the government gives them a subsidy for doing that. Now, the way they make sure that this is actually followed and you're not planting crops is they don't send people. What they do is they look on the satellite, they have photographs that they take at a specific interval, and they look on the satellite and they're able to tell straight away whether this particular field is planted or not. So that's an example of using shapefiles. And like I said, it's very powerful tool, and I hope that gives you some idea of why these are good in data analytics. Okay, moving forward, if there's no other questions. So unstructured data, I'm sure you all understand what that means. It's data that's very difficult to describe. I mean, how do you describe an image? It's just a bunch of pixels and it has no form. I mean, the images can be of any size. Unlike this is a good way to differentiate. A structured data, a field will have some very specific size to it. Whereas in an unstructured data like an image, the image could be 5 KB, it could be 10 KB, it could be anything, right? And there's no schema that can describe an image. So that's why that's an unstructured type of data. Okay, so going forward, types of values. Again, this should be have been covered in statistics mostly, unless you have some very specific questions here that you are having some difficulty with. I'll wait for a couple of minutes, or not even a couple of minutes, but at least a little while. If any of you have any doubts in this, because some people, I understand, can sometimes find this a little tricky. Does anyone have any questions about categorical, numerical, and composite values? Okay, great. So that's week one, very easy week.
Excuse me, sir.
Sorry, Amit, are you speaking?
Yeah. Yeah, yes. In the previous one, they mentioned the unstructured name. I have doubt in it. Image is okay, but unstructured names, uh, how it is.
Okay.
That's
The one thing to be careful here is here we are talking about types of values. Okay. This is not the same. This is not the same as talking about types of data sets. Okay. So this unstructured that you see over here is different because it's talking about data sets. Okay. Whereas the unstructured here, I know you're looking at this aspect here. Um, this is, we are talking about a type of data value, and data values are branched or have been split into three main categories: categorical and under categorical. The reason these fall under there is because you can't do any operations on these, right? You can't do any operations on names or images. You can't do any math on them, or you can't. So this is a more to do with like the data you learned in statistics, where they talk about what is a categorical value, and Boolean, unordered, ordered, cyclical, unstructured. These cannot have any mathematical operations done on them, and this is just a subcategory of categorical values. Okay. If someone wants to add any thing to the discussion, please don't feel like I'm the fountain of all knowledge. Okay. Definitely feel free to step in and share your insight as well.
No, somewhere in other course, we have seen these categorical values. Some operations may also be done, like for example, week days of the week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then ascending order, descending order.
Yes. So
Ratings also given some values. I don't know
so
which.
that's true. Yeah. So that's true.
No, but then
Categorical
that would come, Narenji, that would come only when the categories are coded. For example, let's
Those
say
are
if I
ordinal
put,
data actually. That's why. Those are
huh,
ordinal data.
Ordinal.
That's why.
so in categories, we just have categories like male and female. That's it. So if I am coding that data as male as 1 and female as 2, then that 1 all will be counted and the number of males will be given to me. And if I'm coding female as 2, then that would be there. We can do operations, but that cannot be done as an extensively what can be done on a numerical data. That's why they are called categories.
Correct, correct. No, I have just,
Yeah.
I think in
So,
MLP,
so the scope of operations would be very less, as in terms of a pure data. The scope of operation, what would you do with the number of males and females? You can just tell, you can just calculate the percentages. That's
oh,
it. So the scope for operation would be very less in terms of a categorical data.
sure, sure.
Okay, yeah, very good. So just as Amruta said, there are some operations that can be done, but they're not the same like numerical values where you can do all your normal traditional operations. Some things do have ordinal, as you say, ordinal, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh,
Nominal.
Yes, an order to them, right? So you can have ratings, right? So 1 star, 2 star, that sort of thing, and those have an order to them. A better one is like saying good, better, best. They have an order, but they're still categorical, right? They're not numerical. So some sorts of operations can be done on them in the sense that, but they're not mathematical in the sense you can't say better is 3 times better than good or
Yeah,
something.
that would be a very subjective rating. Like when we give a feedback to a restaurant, it could be 1 to 7 scale for a feedback. 1 could be the worst food and 7 could be the best food. But there could be some restaurant which says 1 means number 1 is the best and 7 is the worst. So it depends totally on what kind of data and what kind of scale you're having. So that category and order would be totally subjective, like what you're saying, Cartoon.
Yes. So in other words, two won't be, it doesn't mean that the food is twice as good as one, right? So that's right. Okay, so that's hopefully we have dealt with that. I hope all of you understand composite values. They're just a mix of different data types that sort of fit together to form a special structure. So I hope that's clear as well. Before we wrap up week one, were there any other queries with week one that you found challenging or that you want to discuss now? Okay, we'll go to week two. Now we'll be getting into the real, as we sometimes say, into the real um, meat of the matter, as they say. Okay, um, in week two, the first thing is let me see here. Is scraping with Excel. So before we start on this, did anyone have any particular difficulties with this that they want to ask now? And if not, I will uh, go through this aspect of it briefly.
Sir, excuse me, Cartoon.
Yeah, go ahead, Raman.
Like I am getting script error in Excel.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
right. Just give me a couple of minutes while I just get set up, okay?
Okay.
We'll just take a quick break, okay? Just about a couple of minutes before we start. Okay, so I'm going to switch to this different laptop here, and application. All right. Okay, is everyone okay? So the first thing we'll do is we will go and get uh, the weather data from, I suppose, from BBC, and look at how that works. If at any point I make a mistake or something, it's bound to happen because the very nature of this of the web is ephemeral. I'm trying to butcher that word. Ephemeral, which means that it changes. Okay, and so sometimes things are going to be won't work as you expect them to work. So if I go, in the next session, I will take all these concepts because in the first half of the today's session, I covered GA, but that's why we are not able to cover the entire. So as you can see, it's quite straightforward in terms of doing this. I'll show you the key thing to learn from here, which is getting the locator API, because that's something that a lot of you might have found it difficult. So normally what happens is, this is a very important tool you're going to use every single time with scraping. And you just hit right click or you press F12 and you will get these developer tools, okay? And it's almost the same regardless of what browser you use. There may be some slight differences in the way it looks, but effectively they work the same. And generally what happens is your website, for those of you who are taking TDS for the first time, so you may not be aware of this, a website, when you actually type in the URL into the top, sends a request, a little piece of data goes to the web server, and the way it gets there is not important, but the fact that it sends a little bit of data with your query in that packet gets sent to the web server. And that is what we are trying to capture when we are trying to capture the API of the service that this is using. So for those that don't know what an API is, every application, or rather I shouldn't say every application, but many applications have a little interface, okay? Think of it as when you, for example, go to a restaurant, you send a request to the waiter, and he's your interface between yourself and the kitchen, right? You don't go to the cook and say, I want this or I want that. The waiter is your interface. And in the same way, an API is an interface to an application that's going to provide you something, okay? Why is it useful to capture the API? You will see in a little bit. But what I'm going to show you is how they work. So normally in these tools that you see over here, you'll see various things. But the key thing we are interested in is this tab called Network. I hope that's visible. Um, and under the network tab, you will see that there is this screen over here. Now, for some of you, it may be set to all. And whenever something, whenever you send a request, like by typing in here, you will see some activity on the network. So if I just reload this page, you will notice that there's a whole bunch of activity that's happening in the background. So what are the things that are happening? For example, it's getting data for ads. It's sending cookies about maybe if you visited the site before, all sorts of information is traveling through. But we are interested in only one, and that is the location data for this particular exercise. And so when I go here, I don't want to muddle through this whole list, okay? If you look here, there are 100 and you only send bbc.com/weather, but actually what has happened in the background, if you can see on this, on the bottom of the screen here, there are 140 requests that actually went, okay? So that's how much activity has happened in the background across your network. So in order to get the very thing that we are looking for, which is the API call to find out the weather for a specific place. What I would do is, you see this little icon here, it says clear network log. Just click on that and all that activity is been scrubbed from your inspect window. And then when you enter the name of the city you're looking for, so let's say for example it's Mumbai. Notice what happened here. As soon as I typed the information in here, although you didn't do anything with the URL at the top, the application using JavaScript or any other type of scripting language, but usually it's JavaScript, it has sent a little request into the network, and this is the what you call for the request that we're interested in. and it encodes all the things that we need in order to make API calls. Why do we want to study this? So that we don't ever have to go through a website to do this. If we can pick up this key piece of information, we can use this information now in our pandas notebook or any programming language that we want to programmatically get the service that we want. So it's a bit like saying, instead of going to the restaurant, sitting at the restaurant and asking the waiter for food, we just want to press a button on our phone and get Swiggy to get the food to us, right? It's much more convenient. So it's the same idea. This is like our little Swiggy. We pick up this information from here, and then we can use this to get our uh, data processed. And if you
Excuse me,
look at the,
Carlton.
yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I did whatever you are doing. But when I typed in the name of a city, so I am getting some 263 requests even after clearing the network log.
Okay. So the one tip I can give you is if you see at the top over here, you can always filter them down. So I would use fetch, because fetch will clear out anything extra that's happening. Now there may be an issue where if you've got a lot of, for example, extensions in your browser, those extensions may be doing things in the background that normally a website is not doing. They could be sending your data or harvesting your data in some ways that you're not aware of. In fact, a lot of malicious tools work that way. And so that may be causing all the extra network traffic. These browsers that we have on here that we're demonstrating are very clean, but we should still be able to locate your specific request because that will be unique to the BBC weather website. What I'll do now is I'll just quickly stop sharing this screen, and you can perhaps show us what you're seeing on your end, because we'll be able to all of us learn at the same time from what you're seeing.
I'll
Sir,
just
I am getting my location API.
That's great, Ramande. Great.
Yeah.
may I start sharing my screen then?
Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
And this is good because this way we get to see edge cases, right? And you will encounter, believe me, data scientist work is all edge cases in real life. So this is great to see the difficulties you'll encounter. So this is all good for everyone.
So this I filtered using this one condition, so I'm getting 51 out of 268 requests.
Okay, great. So now what I want you to do is, you see in the top corner, rather on the, if you go a little bit to your left, there's like a no entry sign. You see that?
This one.
Yeah, if you clear that, okay, you notice now there's nothing, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead and type in any city you want. No, type it in.
Okay.
So I'll explain why this is happening in this particular case, okay? When you press enter, it loads the whole page, and so hundreds of requests go through. But when you're typing, only one request is going through. That's why you're seeing the difference, okay? So go ahead and clear it, please. Press the clear log button, yeah? Just type it in. Don't click on anything. Just type it in. Now watch what happens. You see the difference?
Yeah.
Because what happens is, as soon as you press enter, now you've sent, it's basically getting a whole new page and all the requests that are coming through with it, causing network activity. But when you're typing something here, this is an example of what's called an asynchronous request. Asynchronous means that it's not reloading the whole page, or it's not getting all the data. It's only sending one or two requests asynchronously without refreshing your whole page. So that's why you're seeing only a little bit of network activity when you type it in. Okay.
Excuse me, Carlton. I'm getting 10 requests. When I just type it, I not pressed enter.
Sure. I'll explain why that happens as well. So if you go ahead and show me your screen, please.
Okay, 1 second.
So remember, this is a collaborative learning experience, and this is how we will learn best. when we see what different people get, because you may not experience these difficulties when you're doing your assignments, but I promise you, when you get to ROE, you will see all sorts of weird things happen, and you will have wished you had seen these edge cases, because that will help you in your ROE. Okay, so if you go ahead and show me your inspects window, please.
Oh, this is the window, right? Is it not visible?
No, we can't see your inspect window. You have to either press F12 or right click on the window and hit inspect.
I have clicked the inspect actually directly, but it's not visible. Okay, one
Okay.
second. I'll do it again. Is it visible now?
No, we can't see it on our end.
Reshare
You
your
have to
screen.
share full
Maybe.
screen. Share screen.
Share your entire screen.
Okay.
I think maybe you're sharing a window. Share your
Yeah.
entire screen.
Okay, I'll do that. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Okay, so yeah, so if you clear that, okay, and what you do is, yeah, go ahead and type it in. Okay, there's only one API call been made.
It's
Now,
strange. Earlier
yeah,
it was like increasing. It was
yes,
like
I'll
the
give you one clue. Try typing something like Columbus or Springfield, but type it very slowly. Can someone explain to me what's happening? Why is she
Spring,
getting?
spring. As when we are typing SPRAG, and then Springfield. There are so many Springfields in the world. So it is trying
Yes,
to go all the way, all the calls, API calls, it is trying to make.
correct. Naren, correct. Naren is on the right track. What's happening is, so there is a little, in the script, there is a little bit of time it waits for before it sends the API call. So as you're typing slowly, it thinks you have finished typing. And so each time you finish typing, it sends an API request. And each of those API requests, if you go to, if you click on one of those requests, just go ahead and click on response. Click on response. Okay, and you'll see there are no results because when you are typing slowly, S or P did not have a place. But if you click on the next one, no, sorry, the next location API call, just keep it on response. Keep it on response. Notice there is something different here. Now you're getting a request body with all these places listed on here. And if you keep going down, I think this is when. So you notice what has happened? So that's why I said to type slowly. So that's why you're getting multiple calls. Is that helpful?
yes, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Anyone else has?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
go ahead,
have a
Sachit.
query. Means when I am typing that place name, then it shows me as locations. But when I am clicking on it, then it goes to forecasts observations kind of thing. So
Correct.
it is, huh?
So the reason it does that is because once you hit the enter key, it actually loads a new page with all new information and sends all sorts of new requests.
Oh,
So that's why it happens. Yeah.
okay. So we just have to type, and whenever that location comes, then we'll have to double click on it to see
Yes,
the.
that's correct.
Okay.
Now, remember, this is only one example, okay? If we go to any other website, one of the roles of a data scientist is to find the API call that interests you the most. And what we have just seen is another aspect of it is seeing the response. And that's a key aspect of finding what you're looking for. I'll just quickly share my sorry, I was muted there for a second. I'm just going to show my screen real quick and go through the response part of it. Where did can anyone just let me know till where you heard me speak, because I was muted unfortunately for a couple of seconds. Okay. Right. So open Excel. On the screen here. Share. So this is the first time I'm handling all these various screens and things. Okay, so please bear with me while I wrap my head around um, getting a hang of. Right. Okay. Good. Um, okay. In fact, sorry. Just give me a second. Okay, so the reason there's a little bit of confusion here is largely because of the platform we're using. I'll just switch to this other laptop here to demonstrate the first of all the JSON body request that you're getting and the Excel bit. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so the key over here is when we clicked on this response, the one thing I want you to notice, and this will be important when you're doing your ROE, sometimes you won't be able to know which API you're looking for, okay? And the way you will find that is by going through those calls and seeing if the response you're getting, and there is no magic way of doing this, okay? You'll have to check which the response you're getting is what you're looking for. So if we looked at this response, for example, we can see that there's a JSON. Now, for those of you that don't know what JSON is, there are some resources available. It's basically a structure that contains data. And it's usually like some of you have taken Python. In fact, I think all of you should have had Python. It's like a dictionary key pair. And the dictionary key pair will have keys, as you can see here. Response is a key, results is a key, and this is a list. Okay, what's inside this results? So it's a different data structure. So it's a data structure within a data structure, and within that are again dictionary key pair values. So this part of it, no one can teach you. You learn this by experience. So if you try some other website that produces results like how we see in here, you will find that there will be all sorts of API calls, and you will have to get a knack, is the best way of describing it, of finding the JSON bodies that you're looking for. Because ultimately, when we use this API, when we call this API in our notebook, it will produce this JSON body that you see on the side here. Okay, and if I go into the Jupyter notebook here, no, sorry, it's not the one. If I go to Google Colab, Um, can someone else share their notebook that they have on their system if they have it open? Anyone from the session willing to?
Which one notebook, sir?
So if you go to, I'll tell you, it's in the second week, it's get the data BBC weather location service. Under there, there's a notebook. Let me share the screen with you. It's that one there. Okay, yeah, okay. I think we've got it. Sorry about this. Like I said, it's a bit tricky with 3 different machines over here. Okay, great. So I hope it's clear. No, I'm not sharing the tab, right? Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah.
do apologize for the technical difficulties. Okay, I'm just getting to grips with the setup. So as you can see over here, I'll just annotate it. Or, yeah. As you can see here, can you see this API here? This is what we were looking for. Okay, and that's what we picked up from the BBC website. And this API will then, when we fetch it, will produce this exact same JSON. Can you see that? A response would be good. Okay, great. Shivani is on it, right? Amit, and okay, great. Okay, so that's what we were seeing, right? And now we are doing it programmatically, right? We didn't go into Google Chrome or anything else. All we did was we put in the API here, the API over here, and then we fetched it over here, and then it produces a JSON body. And that's what we saw in the response of the program. So what was the point of this? It's largely an academic exercise to show you how it happens and what you would be doing. Whereas to actually scrape the weather, we didn't really need to do all that, right? All we needed to do was get the ID. As you can see here, this was the ID that we got. And you could say, well, I could just get this number. That's true. You could have just got this number and then just put in the URL and you would get the place. But the purpose of the exercise was to show you how to get access to the APIs. And that was the whole purpose of this exercise. So although there are quicker and easier ways to do it, I hope you gain some idea of what happens in the background when you're interacting with websites. Yeah, go ahead, Suchitra.
Yeah. So this number, that 6167, does that relate to that particular city? So
Correct.
all cities are given such numbers.
Yes. So if you look on here, these cities get unique IDs. Okay. You can see over here, for example, if it's New York, they get some ID, and depending on the location. So the one in the US will have a different ID. The one in Lincolnshire or somewhere will have a different ID, because there's a New York in Lincolnshire apparently, which I never knew. And there is New York, obviously, in the United States. So these IDs relate to specific cities. These are generated by the API. And when you make the call, these IDs are what you then provide in order to get the result. So when you, let me show you back to the BBC website here.
So is it the container ID or what's it?
That's something you will have to pick up from the actual application itself, because that's where the trial and error comes. Let me just share the tab with you so you can see what I'm saying. Inspect. So going back to this and clear all this. So if I, there's still some activity clear, okay. So in New York. So if you look at this, so this is where some little bit of sort of Sherlock investigation has to happen, okay. So
Sorry, but the
there
inspect
are,
is not visible.
Yeah, that another window is not visible.
oh, I'm sorry. Looks like I've made a goof up here myself. Okay, fine, let's see. Let's see if I can fix this. That better?
Yes, now
Yes.
it's visible.
Okay, great. So, right, let's see if we can find New York on here. New York, yes. So as you can see here, there are some IDs here, and how do we find out that's the real one? The answer is trial and error. So if I go ahead and hit New York, you will see at the very top, there is a number here, 2641508, okay? So what I'll do is I'll go back. Now I'll make a note of this number, okay? 2611508. Go back to searching for it and say New York, and then look through the API and see if I can match these numbers up. 261, no, these are New Orleans. Let's see, there it is, 26. So now you know, where is it? 507, that's 508. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but this is what data science is going to look like, okay? It's messy, and sometimes things don't quite match up, but let's just try this number, okay?
I think that is happening because you haven't included a space after new.
Oh yes, brilliant, brilliant catch. Very, very good. Now let's see, let's look at this latest call. Yes, you are absolutely right. Who was that, please?
It was me, Aditya.
Okay, Aditya, fantastic work,
Thank
Aditya.
you, everyone.
In
Fantastic.
this line, in the same line, I would like to add something. See,
Sure,
for
sure, go
example,
ahead.
Delhi, if I give, it is not coming. New Delhi, if I give, it comes. And actually, I'm from Madras, and later it is changed to Chennai. But when I try typing Madras, it's giving zero response.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, this is again, this is part of the data science. It's going to be messy, but the key takeaway is there is no hard and fast rule that this is exactly what it's going to be. You're going to have to learn to, and this is the skill. You're going to have to learn to find the data. But I hope the key takeaways are when you send a request and you're trying to find the API that the website interacts with. This is the method to do it, and finding the IDs to match up with what you're looking for is going to be trial and error. We use this example because it's nice and easy to do. My suggestion is try it on some other websites. Any of your favorite websites. Try to find what API calls it's making, and once you find the API calls, try to use the JSON um, um, response to then get the information you're looking for, because that's what we are doing in these first 2 weeks, right? Right. So Ravina is asking why we are interested in the ID. So the reason we're interested in the ID is, if you look down here, okay, it's not on this notebook. It will be on the next notebook, I think. Close these and go to that one. No, that's not a notebook. This one, yeah, I think. Okay, so why we are looking for, oops, I've gone past it. Right, so why are we looking for these ID numbers? That's because when we want to actually scrape the data for the city we are looking for, as you can see, the calls are made using these ID numbers, but we don't know what these ID numbers are, right? So when you're developing an application, let's say you're working for uh, a sporting company, and they want to schedule events or rather not even a sporting company, but let's say it's some company that requires to do some surveys or something, and they want to know when's the best weather to do something. Um, you will be required to, for example, find the weather for that particular place or that particular site, and you will need some numbers, right? You won't keep going to the website to get those results, right? Because it could be, for example, for a large mining operation that does various sites. Let's say they have 100 sites where you won't go to each one of them, right? So what you do is you put in your data into an application like this. It'll fetch the results based on what details you put in there. And then you don't have to manually do it. That's why you need these ID numbers, because they are like your Swiggy APIs, where you don't have to physically go to the website, search for each one individually. And that's why you need those numbers. I hope that made sense, and I wasn't rambling or something. Did that make sense? At this point, if someone wants to add something, please go ahead and. Okay. Okay, great. Because sometimes, I'm not sure, because if no one responds, then I'm not sure whether it's okay. Great. Okay. Right. What's the next thing? Let's go back here. So that's the scraping the BBC website and about the APIs in general. The next part is about scraping with the JavaScript. Have any of you, do you have to remember the Colab code for ROE? So the answer to that is no. But I'll tell you what happens in reality, okay? So ROE is, if you don't know, is an open internet exam. What that means is you are able to search for any resource you like. In fact, that's a very good question. One of the key, this is hot tip number 2, okay? For your exam, make a bookmark. I think you can see some bookmarks here, right? So make a bookmark and store all the Colab notebooks in there, okay? Because at a moment's notice, if you want to look for something that you've already worked on before, what better way than, instead of searching the whole net or even asking ChatGPT, if you just look back at something that you've already done and you want to just quickly grab a snippet, just go there and get it, okay? It's an open internet exam. So do you have to remember everything? No, absolutely not. But does it help? I tell you one thing, if you're not comfortable with quickly getting an answer, you will be in trouble in ROE. And because what they're testing is not your knowledge, okay? They're not testing whether you remember things. They're testing your intuition to quickly find an answer. So what helps, if you have a lot of practice in doing something, you're not going to keep looking it up, right? And that's the trouble all students face. So I hope that answered that question, whether you need to remember. Okay. I think the key takeaway from that is understand the code. If you understand the code, then you'll be able to use it very quickly. Okay, go ahead, Suchita.
In ROE, is this IIT portal available to open?
Everything is available. Everything is available.
Okay.
There is nothing. It works like a graded assignment with one caveat. You will have a time limit. So it'll be a very short time limit. Maybe
Yeah, it's
half an hour
just
to
45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be half an hour to 45 minutes. And there will be a lot of questions to answer. So when you have that many questions to answer, you'll have to be very comfortable with the Google Colab or any of the other, I mean, not just Google Colab, but any of the tools. The key is to just get the answers one way or the other. You can phone a friend, you can, yes, go ahead, Shivani.
So would the ROA be like a proctored exam?
No, it's not proctored. That's why I said you can phone a friend, you can do whatever you think is necessary to get through the ROE. But that should give you a clue, right? If you're allowed all these resources, what that means is you will need intuitive capability to find the answer. and the only way to get that is through practicing. So what
So
I've shown you is just a basic idea, and the practicing will be up to you guys.
so we can open all the collabs that we want and
Yes,
use them.
absolutely. There's sky is the limit. There's no issues with that.
Okay, thank you.
And that's not just true for ROE, okay? Anytime you encounter in the real world an open internet exam, that's a clue right there. They're going to test your intuitive ability, and it's going to require a lot of practice and skill. So there you have it. Any other questions regarding ROE or anything we have discussed so far?
We're still in the iceberg now. Another 4 weeks has to go.
Sayan is asking, it is not answering something. Oh, sorry, just a second here. Where is it? Is it not answering something correctly? It is all about testing skills. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean that's not entirely true. I mean, the answers you will have to give will have to be perfect. So you will not get questions where you can sort of hit the ballpark. The answers will have to be precise, but it's they are testing your skills for sure, and that's why it is. I'll just tell you a small anecdotal story. I hope you don't mind me saying. So this is a real life example, okay? I won't, because of some disclosure requirements, I can't give you all the details. But at a particular Air Force base, there was a major who was asked, he was working in logistics for the Air Force, okay? And the general came in, and he suddenly pulled him from the department and said, "We are on our flight to the Pentagon. We want you to give us an estimate on how much it will cost to replace the wings of this fleet of aircraft that they have, the C-130 Galaxies that they had on base." And he said, when do you need to know by? He said, well, we are on the flight now. We'll reach there in 2 hours. I want the answer by the time we land there. And he looked just incredulous and said, well, there's no, even if you gave, he said to him, even if you gave me a whole week, I wouldn't be able to provide you the answer. Well, and then the general just turns around and says, well, you've got 2 hours. And that's kind of how sometimes real life will be, okay? And that's what this ROE experience is meant to give you a little taster of, okay? So I hope I didn't scare you, but the practice is key, okay? What are the tools and Python package will be introduced? Don't worry, Ramande. I know you sound scared, but you will see. One thing is, none of us, when we start out, none of us have the skills. But as you develop as data scientists, you will have the skills. And if you think about your journey till now, when we were in 10th or 12th, we felt it was very hard, right? But now when we look back at it, we think, oh, why was I so stressed about the 10th, right? You will gain confidence. And my hope is that as we go through these next few weeks, our goal is to get you confident to do it well, okay? So just follow these lectures, ask your questions, engage with others, and collaboratively learn. That helps a lot. And don't be afraid, okay? Right. What tools and Python packages will be introduced? Whatever you see on here over the next few weeks, those are the tools we'll be working with. There's no way for us to cover everything. I'll give you one example with regards to, I think is there a PDF scraping on here? Yeah, so PDF scraping, okay. You don't have to use the tools we share. You can use any tool that you're comfortable with. As Anand sir probably has demonstrated in his, probably one of his intro videos, or maybe in his session yesterday, it's about getting the job done, and that's what TDS is supposed to reflect. It's as if you're working at a company and you're trying to get the job done. You can use any tool in the toolbook you want. We will give you some tools so that our goal is to make you aware of what tools are available, and you can either use them or you can use anything you like. There's no restrictions. Okay, I hope Pral Kumar, that answers your
Can
question.
I ask a subsequent question to this? Actually, whatever we have introduced to those only will be asked. No? For example, I was trying one just dial. I was trying to get some data, but it was dynamically it was happening. So with our regular tools, what we learned in this section, we are not able to get it. And when I asked ChatGPT, it was telling you have to use some Selenium or something like that to get dynamically posted data.
Okay, great. That's great. Now, this is
So,
why I like this course, okay, Naren. What you have just demonstrated is something that we require in this course, and that's why this course gets updated very frequently, because the tools keep getting better and better and better. I would suggest you post that in the discourse, and if it's something that we can use as a resource in the future, we will definitely include it in this course.
okay. My question was, you will not be asking this dynamically happening websites, no, like static websites only we are seeing here.
Yes. So for ROE, we won't ask anything that's dynamic. The reason for that is actually quite logistical. We can't prepare an answer key for a site that is constantly changing in data.
Okay.
Okay. So it will be a static website in the sense that the data will be static. It won't be changing. Okay. So we won't, for example, we won't ask you in ROE the BBC weather. Okay. That's a good clue, because why? Weather keeps changing, right? How do we grade you against an answer key?
Yeah.
Yeah. But having said that, it's not going to be easy. I mean, again, I can't stress that enough. Okay. The data set may be static, but your practice will be key. Okay. But great
It's,
question.
thank you.
Okay. Right. Okay. Where did we drop off? So we dropped off with. Right. So the next thing we were going to look at was scraping with browser JavaScript. Have any of you been through this video? Okay. Um, any queries specifically regarding this? The reason I'm asking this question is, and to show you how dynamic this particular course is compared to most of the other courses in this whole BS degree. This is a new video. In fact, we never learned this last term. So I had to, in fact, learn it uh, earlier today myself. So all I did was I went through the video. I studied what Anand sir had mentioned, and it's pretty straightforward. The idea is, instead of using a tool like Beautiful Soup, which again, very important tool, um, it's doing scraping using JavaScript, where you scrape directly from the console of the website on the browser. So that's why I would highly recommend, if you haven't gone through this video, it's very, very much worth it. He goes through it step by step. Some places you'll have to press pause and ask questions, or rather, put post queries or something. But definitely go through this video. It won't, again, we won't ask specific questions in ROE based on this, but it's just another tool in your toolbox, okay, for scraping.
Excuse me, Kar.
Sure, go ahead.
I early asked, I was facing issue in like script error in Excel.
Okay, okay. What specific script error were you facing?
1 second. I will tell
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you one. Hello?
Sorry, go ahead. Subed, you're not very clear.
Is it audible now?
Yours, I mean, I'm having difficulty in hearing what you're saying. Is it audible to anybody else?
No, his voice is very feeble, very weak. Like it's not clear.
Okay, Subedha, could you?
Let me fix it and I'll come.
Excuse me.
Uh,
I was sharing screen.
okay, is it Ramande or?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, Karthik,
Okay,
sir.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Like this is the Excel.
Yeah.
Like from web, I have to scrap.
Okay.
Then here like this, I am cutting this error.
Okay. It's probably to do with the site that you're trying to scrape. Just
I'm
try using.
BBC weather I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it says.
Like
What version of Excel is this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
2016 is 07, I think 7.
Okay. So instead of saying no, just say yes and see what happens.
Okay.
Just for your information, like if it's, I forget, there is an actual minimum requirement for this course in terms of Excel. I think it is 2013 possibly, but I can't be sure. I don't remember. But something that's very old, we will not be able to support you very well with it. But we will try.
The older versions of Excel are very bad at it. Like you need to have the recent versions to do any data operating what you're doing.
Okay. Like
Okay.
how can I get the new versions?
You better install Microsoft like MS Office, the recent version. That would be better in case if your system allows you, or get an SSD extension to your system. In case if your system is not allowing you to update to Microsoft, like Windows, recent Windows will help you out with all the things. That could be the problem in your PC if it is too old.
Like what should I do? Like,
the only thing what you can do is if your Windows is 8.1, you upgrade your Windows to 10 or 11. Doesn't make much difference. Windows 10 has to be there or Windows 11 has to be there. If your
it's
PC is
it's 10 already. It's Windows 10.
then you should have a better version of Excel. Try to see that.
Like
Excel.
I have to download new version from Microsoft.
Yes.
Okay, I will try that.
And for Kashish, you can get the recording of this session from the YouTube playlist. Okay, it won't be immediately on there, but we will put it as soon as the session is over. Okay. Okay. The next. So I was asking about JavaScript scraping. Have you guys tried it? Did you have any questions specific to it? Okay, go ahead, Subit.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, please go ahead.
So the referring to the video that we were just looking at the IMDb database, tracking from the IMDb database.
Yes.
The same can be done using. It starts with B.
Sorry, Subit, could you repeat that again slowly?
Is it the video we were discussing IMDb? It can be used using the tool that we were discussing in the previous video, right?
You mean the API calls? Yeah, I'm sure IMDb has API calls on there. You just have to.
We were using JavaScript here, no?
Yes, he was using JavaScript to.
It can be used using the tool that tool that starts with B.
I'm not sure I can understand what you said. Sorry. Can someone, if someone can hear him clearly, can you tell me what exactly?
I think you should write it in the chat box.
Subhita, can you write in the chat box your query? I think you're asking whether you can use the same method we used before for scraping the IMDb website. Is that what you were asking? Okay. Yeah, it just depends on what you're trying to scrape. So in the JavaScript video, what Anand sir was scraping was not something that required an API call. It was basically he was looking at a static list of top 250 movies, and then he tried to scrape it directly from there using JavaScript. My suggestion is, I mean, I could go through it step by step if you wanted, but that won't be terribly useful because he's already covered it. So my suggestion is, unless you had some issues with doing that, I would recommend you or anyone else for that matter to actually watch the video because it's quite good. And here's the other thing, JavaScript, again, he himself admits in the video that some of the things he knows on there is just because from years of experience of using it, okay? So that just comes through experience. He used, yeah, correct. You can use Beautiful Soup. You can definitely use Beautiful Soup for doing the scraping instead of JavaScript. But it's just another tool he offered, because Beautiful Soup, the reason I mentioned this, is it takes a little bit of setup sometimes to try and work through. Whereas JavaScript, you tend to get quite immediate feedback on the thing you're trying to scrape, which with Beautiful Soup, you can sort of do it, but it's a little more involved. So I think that's why the reason JavaScript is just a useful thing to have, especially when you're trying to get answers quickly. So definitely try out both. I won't start Beautiful Soup today because we're still quite late in the session. But Amit has done a fantastic resource on Beautiful Soup. So definitely. Remember those optional videos I was talking to you about at the end? Definitely check those out. And then perhaps next time we can do a practical example with Beautiful Soup, okay? Yeah, okay, not versed with JavaScript, enrolled with Add to this term. Yeah, again, we're not expecting you to be experts at JavaScript. At most, what will happen is you will get questions in the end term final exam for things like that. And it won't be, we won't be testing how amazing you are at JavaScript. It will probably ask you something that I can't tell you specifically what will be asked because it's the first time they've introduced that for this course. But it won't, I don't expect them to give you something very complicated to answer. Like I don't think they will give you like a whole bunch of code and then tell you to identify the JavaScript. Is that helpful? Okay. Right, thanks, Aditya, Shivani. Let me go back to sharing the screen here. Now, obviously, because this is the very first session, and ideally we should have had an extra session to cover some of these things. Were there any questions in nominatim that anybody tried? It should be straightforward. It's very plug and play. Again, just go to the notebook. I'll just open it quickly here so that you can have a look at it. So it's very much plug and play. Just try to understand in general what the code does. It's very detailed and well explained. Don't forget to read these comments, okay? Because every term this happens where someone will run it and say it's not working for me, and they forget to read the comments, and there's something valuable in the comments that explains how to get it working for yourself, okay? But this is largely plug and play. Again, the purpose of this notebook, and someone has taken a lot of care and effort to build this, is to demonstrate another example of data scraping and using a tool called nominatim. In the final exam, you can expect to get questions about not the code itself, but about the tool and what you use it for. Those are the kinds of questions they will ask you in the final exam, okay? Unless they drastically change it or something. So that's about nominatim. I won't spend much time on that. But if you have any specific queries, I'm happy to answer them. Again, Wikimedia, just another tool, not very difficult, very, very easy. Again, unlikely you will find something in the ROE specific to Wikipedia. More than likely what you will get is, like I said, the other things that I mentioned earlier. But for the final exam, they may ask a question about the tool. Scraping PDFs using Tabular is very straightforward. It's like literally, I think it's like 3 lines or 4 lines of code. And you would have, in one of your graded assignments, I'll just quickly go to snap over to the graded assignment here. I'm not going to discuss graded assignments specifically, but yeah. So this last question, for example, you will have to use PDF scraping, and because the data is very clean, that's been given to you, and people have worked very hard to give you clean data. Okay, you're very lucky actually. So this is easily done using Tabular. Okay, just few lines of code is needed. That's all. And if you go through that notebook, it's not difficult. It's like, I think it's like 3 or 4 lines of code. Of course, you will have to do some simple loops and things like that, but those should be quite straightforward. But if you have anything specific to ask about it, the one thing I will mention about Tabular, because you might not be aware, is when you import Tabular, you'll have to install using pip. It'll have to be tabular-py. Okay, just keep that in mind, because sometimes that catches people out. It definitely caught me out, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Tabular-py is what you want to pip install. Okay, it's in the documentation, but sometimes it's easy to miss out, and just put pip install Tabular or something like that, and you get some weird errors saying this is missing, that is missing, this dependency is not there or something, but it's actually Tabular-py. Okay. Any questions so far? Please open your mic and ask.
Yeah. Can you please show me the notebook for this one, the last you explained?
For Tabular, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I tried this pip install tabula. For me, it was not working.
Okay.
Okay, now it's got tabula pages.
Did you try? So are you trying it on your local computer? Because
Yeah,
when I was talking about
now it is working. Now it is working.
Okay, great.
Pip install tabula.py I did not do previously.
Yeah.
I have
So
done
this
it
problem, largely this problem stems for people who are working on their local machine, which I tend to do. I use VS Code a lot. So, but yeah. So effectively, what happens is you import Tabular. This code just mounts the content, okay, and then so I don't usually do all this. What I tend to do is download the PDF that we are looking at, because obviously we are scraping a PDF, right? So I don't worry about getting it from the website and things like that. This code is in that sense not necessary. But the key fact is you got to read the PDF. Okay, so this is the key line of code here. I hope you can see it. Yeah, yes. So once you start the Tabular, you read the PDF, and then you choose the page that you wanted to read. And once you get the page you read, it will create a data structure. And then, for example, with your graded assignment, like I said, it's really simple. It gives you nice, clean data. You can then transform it into whichever way you want to use it. Okay. Normally, the easy thing to do is you export it to a CSV file. I believe Tabular has a feature for that. Yeah. So yeah, convert into and it will send it to a CSV file. And then you can manipulate the CSV file in Excel or any program that you like and easily get the information that you need for your graded assignment. Literally 3-4 lines of code, okay? Not difficult. Anything specific you have a question about that you didn't understand? Wow, either I'm really good at answering your questions or you guys are not sure what to ask. Which is it?
It could be like we might not have reached week 2 yet.
Okay. Right.
The problem with this, like, we are like, I don't know about other people, like what I faced personally is like we are by now we are habitual to learn the things in a very modular fashion what IIT had been doing from foundation level, and I need the resources there. In case if I don't understand from that particular video, I will go to the YouTube and search it. Since the modules are like totally blank, the very first thing comes to mind is I have got nothing to read, or there's something in a very unusual way given to me to read. That was one glitch which I found in here for TDS.
Okay. But so far, with any of the content that you have looked at, and even in today's session, was there anything that you had any queries that you wanted clarification on?
Week 1 I solved easily, week 2 I haven't solved yet. And for all these things, like I'm not really a Python pro. Even I struggled in Python. So what I'm seeing now, like once I do it, then I'll have questions maybe in the next session.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, please go ahead and start looking at the notebooks, and definitely I would get started on working through some of these graded assignments. Okay, places where you will find some challenges are like this API. See, this is using an API now. This is not difficult, but will require some level of examining code and being able to answer questions about it. This one is quite easy because this is just an easy search of through the inspect element. Yeah, go ahead, Suchitra.
Yeah, the last one which you were telling about, that PDF scraping.
Yes.
So my query is, even if we can scrape out the data from PDF to some other file,
Yeah.
means my question was asking me about addition of a few marks, and getting it means some summation. So basically later on we will have to go with our traditional ways only, right, to sum up all those things. This scraping is just to get that data out from PDF to some other file, like
Yes.
Excel or
Yes.
anything.
Yes. Or manipulate it in Pandas data frame.
But can we make additions and all those things? Can we run some program for that to add up those?
Of
Uh,
course, yeah. You would run through some loops to be able to collate all the students that you want, or sometimes Pandas library, although it's a vast topic in of itself, Pandas
yeah,
has some good as far as learning. If you want to learn something very useful, try and become proficient in Pandas. It will help you in the ROE as well, and it will also be very good for where you don't have to do a lot of loops. You can it has a lot of what can I say, functions that will help you collate answers very quickly.
okay. And another query is, even if we are going ahead with this graded assignment after this Sunday,
Yeah.
will they be sharing some answers or solutions, like explanations, how it has to be done, so that next time at least we will be in a better position to solve this, because
Yeah.
giving only answers doesn't actually solve the
Correct.
queries.
Yeah. So yeah,
The
we
how
will
part should be there.
yeah, so we will definitely go through that and explain at least a method of going about it in terms of this is how you work through.
Can
I
I?
mean, you can. I mean, obviously, you can understand why I cannot specifically discuss how to do the graded assignments, but definitely once the graded assignment time is up, then we will tackle these individual ones, so you can see the workflow and the thinking behind how you can approach these
Huh.
questions.
Yeah, yes. I'm saying after the deadline, at least we should be knowing how we should have gone through that
Yes,
particular
yes,
question.
sure, sure. Definitely, we will cover those things
Okay,
so
okay.
that
Yeah,
at least you have some idea of what the workflow is with regards to
yeah,
producing those outputs. Okay.
yeah.
Kaldan, I have got one question here. Like,
Sure, go ahead.
since one part of the course would be like, or this particular subject would be like solving the graded assignment, by default we'll solve it. At the same time, like you have mentioned that you will also like mention how part will also be discussed. Apart from that, like from the practical learning point of view, also like which could be somehow feeding us how to solve the ROE. So I just wanted you to like focus on one thing maybe in the next session, like from week one, in case if something like, for example, let's say data discovery is there. So
Yeah.
somebody who is a very novice or somebody who's a person who's taking the first step in this particular tedious step. So what are the practical points which we need to cover? Like for example, you said something just now, like we need to learn pandas in detail, and that cannot be done maybe in 1 hour or half an hour. Maybe in case even if I want to learn, there could be a good 3 or 4 hours tutorial which I can find on web. So similarly, I'm looking for some such kind of a practical insights from you people, because you've already covered tedious. Maybe Amit also can also contribute here. So that can be like from week one, this is one thing what you can take home at the end of the day. Week two, this is something what you can have as a professional when we go into uh, the professional world. We can learn this apart from only learning and scoring point of view for graded. That is not my objective, but something what we can take home as a professional.
Okay.
That if we can focus on, that would be great insight from both of you.
Okay. So Amit was just not here at this moment, so I'll inform him about the issue that you want to be able to. So, if I understood correctly, you want to know the resources that you can use to better learn how to do the data analysis and the data workflow behind how we achieve these things. Correct? Did I understand you correctly?
Yeah, yeah. For example, let's say week one is data discovery. So it is all about pandas. So
Yes.
I can go on YouTube and maybe specifically pull out a tutorial which is best in learning pandas. Maybe there I can find a 3 hours or 4 hours or in a stretch. But I can learn pandas, and like what you mentioned, I like that point. Like if I'm learning something, I need to learn it from profession point of view. I don't learn just to get the graded assignment marks, right?
Yes.
So that's what that insight I need from you and Amit.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Like for today is the first session, so I don't want to bombard you with any kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like you might be prepared at your own end, but then for the next sessions, like if you can tell that okay, week one pandas is something what you can take home from that and start learning pandas. We can start learning pandas at the back end, not
Okay.
only for the point of scoring but also from the point of learning something.
Yeah.
For week two, I did not understand what to learn. Like it was a quite mess in my head. Like I did not understand what to get into week two.
Okay. With regards to week two, uh, if I just quickly, I think the things that will help you with week two. Uh, I mean, of course, I'm trying to keep some perspective for other students as well, which is to do with the fact that they have. I mean, like yourself, will have graded assignments. The key takeaways to learn is you go through the optional videos that I was talking about. That will help you a lot at the very end over here. Did you manage to look through those? The ones that I was
No, no, I
mentioning?
have not yet. I have
Okay.
not yet done. You may. But I remember that you mentioned that where it is written optional,
Yeah.
that has not to be written optional. That word is really misleading.
Yes.
So I'll consider that as a tip from your end that we need to really go through that particular thing.
Yes. And with regards to pandas, I think the best way is, I wouldn't say learn pandas just on its own. What we will do is I will go through some practical examples and also Amit as well, because he'll be taking some sessions as well. we'll go through some practical ways of using pandas, because that's more helpful than learning the pandas library. Pandas library is very extensive, so you won't gain much just from, I won't say you won't gain much, but you won't be able to know what to focus on if you try to learn the whole library. So instead, what we'll do is we will show some practical ways of using Panda, and that probably will then guide your learning in the sense that you will then have a framework from which you can grow. That's what we will provide. We'll provide you the framework. So then once you get those basic skills of using Panda and understand some of the fundamental operations that goes with Pandas, then you will yourself will be able to then say, okay, this is where I'm need some a little more practice with, or this is the kind of problem I'm trying to solve. I have the skeleton framework in place, and now I'm going to enhance my skills by learning this part of Pandas to help me achieve.
Okay.
And you're right. I mean, this is only the first session, so it's like impossible
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
cover
can. Yeah,
the
but we
vast.
can lay the foundation. Like for example, of course, one objective would be graded assignment. Second would be clearing the ROE, which is actually a challenging part. So if we can have some hands-on sessions wherein you put us through challenges, you give us some assignments, and we will really break our head behind the scene, and then we will come in the live session with the queries. That would be more
Yes.
better, like in terms of learning.
Yeah, we have that in the pipeline, so we will definitely be doing that. Yeah. Okay. So if there are no more queries or any specific doubts,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, I have done the week 1, but I know started up to week 2nd. Then for week 2nd, I need to go through all the video and
Yes.
then practical on it.
Yeah.
by own.
The ramp up is very severe. I understand that, and it is something every student experiences. I mean, they look at week 1 and think, tedious is okay, easy. And actually, in truth, it is. I know it seems like it's difficult. It's just that the quantity of information is a lot, okay? They will throw a lot of things at you, and that's what makes it challenging. So that's why you'll have to be prepared to spend some time going through the tools, and that will also help you ask me questions, right? Because when you ask me specific questions, then I can answer them very easily. And so that's, I think Amit will also just put in his advice here at this point, so that he'll be able to guide you about that. Amit, you wanted to say something?
Okay, thank you, Karthik. I hope everyone can hear me. Okay, Amit Kumar, you were asking a question about the week 2 content. So I like to suggest you, you better going before the week 2 content, you better go first, start from here. This optional live session recording, and not only Amit Kumar, everyone else. If you guys are very new to HTML and Mat 1, if this is your first or second term, you better start from here, because we discussed last time, we don't have much time this week, because on the Sunday you guys need to submit your assignment, and you guys must have other subjects also. So if you start from here, optional live session recording, you will see lot of structure about how to start with HTML. Here we discussed about how to write your first HTML code, how the website is structured and stuff. Once you complete first three here, no need to go on it. This XML. XML is different thing. First complete these three. First one is the most important. Then when you are gonna watch all these videos, then it will make more sense for you.
Okay, then we can take the assignment.
Yeah, not only assignment. This is for the knowledge purpose, and
Yeah.
yeah, it will be helpful in ROE. And about if there is anything you want to take away from TDS, if any life skill, that's one of the important thing which I learned from TDS is scraping. Since I learned this scraping part, it makes my life quite easier as a data scientist. So this is one of the most essential skill which you can learn here.
Amit, you can also some more explanation on scripting, like what we can learn after that, what we can use, where we can use it, and like this.
first complete these videos and you will get a very good idea about what
Okay.
is scripting, and then you will start looking in your real life. Let's say if you
Okay.
are looking at the Wikipedia page, so we generally go through Wikipedia page. If we need to some information, we just copy paste it. So when you start doing this small thing, like me and Carton working on some data set, and we use some scraping tool today. There was like 50 or 60 Excel sheets, and we use some script, pandas and Python stuff, and it make our life quite easy. Which stuff which generally take 2 or 3 hours, we was able to complete it in 20 minutes. So everything, these tools like scraping, Excel, pandas, Python scripts, they all are helpful. This is just a first session. I suggest you guys to do hand-on practice, not just watch the lecture. Watching lecture doesn't count much, even for your end-term examination. Um, just some few notes, looking at the slides will be more than enough if you want to score marks. But if you want to learn stuff, don't just watch the video with a pen and paper. Watch video in your mobile phone, just and at the same time, start coding on your laptop. It will be more effective.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else want to ask anything? I think we should end our session for today. It's more than 2 hours. If anyone want to ask anything, you guys please ask. And we will have one more session on Sunday, 8 to 10. We will try to give you more hand-on experience what is scripting there.
Sir, my question was, does every HTML file contain API key?
Not all. Some HTML files are very static. They are just simple HTML page, and everything is in the inspect element. But most of them contains API key. If there is lot of information, then there must be API key.
Just I was searching in the Google Map, then there I can't find API key.
Google Map is little bit different. They are not just simple HTML website. Google Map is little bit different. So yeah, we will look into Google Map and we will try something there. And also the thing is, uh, not all API keys are public. Not all websites allow you to do scraping. So sometimes when you do scraping, then some website even take the legal action against you. So don't try scraping on all the website. Okay, especially commercial or private one.
Okay, sir.
So I think we should stop recording. You guys still have some question you can ask. I'm just stopping recording. Okay.